Hi, welcome to Familiar Magic Podcast. My name is Tasman Silvercat, and I am here with my witch sister Lilith. And today our discussion will be on Samhain. We will start off with very basics. Samhain is celebrated from sunset on October 31st to sunset on November 1st, and that is almost halfway between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. Samhain is not a satanic holiday, which most people watching this already know, but Samhain is a Celtic fire festival, which has become one of the main Sabbats celebrated by witches and pagans because it marks the end of summer and the beginning of winter in the Celtic calendar, which only celebrated 2 seasons. This time of year is a good time to look inward, reflecting on the past year, looking hard at yourself and what you want to change, and looking to the future, what goals you'd like to set. It's a time to remember those who have passed over and connect with your ancestors, to remember your ancestors, because the veil between the realms is at its thinnest on Samhain, the next closest being Beltane, and it is a time for thankfulness and to think of all the blessings that have been bestowed upon your family and home for the past year. It was once believed that fairies, witches, and demons roamed the earth on Samhain, so food and drink are customarily set out to placate them. Eventually, this turned into trick-or-treating, but there's a lot more story about that will be on our blog, which I will link in the down bar below. Samhain is mostly about the changing of the seasons and preparing for the dormancy of nature as summer turns to winter. This was the time of year that cattle and other livestock were slaughtered for eating, and for the winter months, so they would kill them and smoke them and store them, and any crops still in the field in Samhain were considered taboo, and they were left as offerings to the nature spirit. There's a lot of stuff with that. The goddess is in her crone aspect during the winter. At Samhain, she is the serpent goddess, the queen of the underworld, and consequently represents the shedding of the old to allow in the new. And Lilith will help me with this next portion.
I'll help you with some of the goddesses. Some of them, I don't want to mispronounce their names. They might hurt me.
Well, any that you have problems pronouncing, just ask and I will help, because there are some that, like Credir, I'm going to hope that's proper.
Well, I'm going to assume that the first one is Samhain, because it's spelled the same way. An aspect of the Scottish winter hag,
The Kaylee.
There's Hecate, Lilith, the Morgan.
Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga. She's Russian area. Russia. That area.
Carlin,
Credir,
Frida,
Pomona, Psyche, and Hel. Those are some of the goddesses that are associated with Samhain. We honor the goddess in general work, with specific Samhain goddesses dedicate an altar, hold a ritual, or meditate asking for her blessing and to help you with any help you may require in the upcoming year. Work with the Samhain goddess for life changes, achieving goals, letting go of the past patterns that no longer serve you.
And the next thing I think is a really cool idea that Miss Taz came across. So now I'm going to have to go out and find a goddess oracle.
I will too.
Apparently, you can use the goddess oracle to draw cards from to discover which goddesses are willing and wish to work with you in the coming year.
Which is something I think is really fucking awesome, and I will also be adopting because that's cool as hell. This time of year is good for setting up an altar. Or rearranging your altar and making it fit you better. At Samhain, altars are often decorated in autumnal colors, and you can decorate with the items such as pumpkins and gourds, skulls. Not my gig, but I know a lot of people who are into that.
Harvest food.
Photographs of deceased loved ones. Some people prefer their own ancestor altar, but some people like me don't have the room for 14 altars.
It is said that if you're going to have an ancestral altar, not to have pictures of the living on that altar.
Yes. vintage ephemera that connects you to the ancestors. So basically, heirlooms that make you think of your ancestors. So I have some stuff that was my dad's and will always make me think of him no matter what. Pine cones, conkers, but I can honestly say I'm not quite sure what conkers are. Do you know what that is?
I was about to ask what conkers are, so
If someone knows what conkers are and could let us know, we'd very much appreciate that. Chestnuts and acorns, candles that have to do with the colors, which we will get to later, and of course anything, to do with Samhain.
let's face it, as witches, we shop this time of year for our year-round decor.
Yeah, we do. Well, most of us, some don't, but they're weird. Not judging, just stating.
Okay, so then we have the section on spells to do with Samhain, a lot of which have to do with divination.
Especially love divination. That is a very big thing this time of year, apparently.
Okay, let's see. You can peel an apple, keeping the peel in one place, and you can toss it in the floor or in a bucket of water or whatever, and whatever letter it forms will be the first initial of your true love's name.
If a girl has more than one potential lover, she can peel an apple and pull out the seeds. Place the wet seeds on your cheek for each boyfriend. And the last one left stuck to the skin represents the suitor who is the true love. That sounds sticky and would drive me up the wall.
There's actually another way that you can do that if you have multiple lovers. You can actually take onions, one onion representing each person, put it in a brown paper bag, and put it in your closet. Whichever one sprouts first is the one that you're meant to be with.
And she knows this from personal experience.
Yes, I do.
Because more than once, our little Miss Kitty has been caught in a conundrum. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, people are bad. We'll just go there.
um, this one I could never do because it would scare the crap out of me. At midnight on Samhain, you can go to a lake and gaze into the water. You should see your lover's face reflected in the lake before you. If I see a face reflected back at me that's not mine, I'm going to assume it's a dead body.
And this kitty is going to go run and scream in the opposite direction.
This kitty too, because, no. We grew up where there was a lot of drownings. So, yeah, that's not my gig. But if you don't have that phobia,
Have
more
at it.
power to you. You can fill a cauldron or bucket with water or glass. Light a candle, drip the wax into the water, and see what shape it forms. The shape will indicate the profession of your future lover. If you're working on love magic, it can also foretell changes in your non-romantic life, such as job issues or questions related to home and family.
See, you can find a moving body of water like a stream or river. Select a piece of wood to represent the person you wish to be your lover and throw it in the water. If it floats downstream, he will be true and constant. If the wood gets caught up on the banks or sinks, your lover will be unfaithful.
I wish we'd done that with a couple of our exes.
True story.
Then again, a couple of our exes, I would have rather just thrown them in the stream and see if they floated or sunk. To find out if you'll find love in the coming 12 months, separate an egg and drop the white into a glass of water. If it sinks immediately, love is forthcoming. If it floats on top of the water, you'll spend the next year alone. How nice.
See,
That's
take two nuts, one for yourself, one for your lover. At midnight on Samhain, place them on a grate over your fire. If they burn well, you'll have a long and happy relationship. If one nut pops or burns, it means one of you will be unfaithful.
I'm sorry, I'm 14. So don't bust a nut.
Of course, other things with Samhain, you can do divinations for the new year. Of
That includes tarot or runes or whatever divination you prefer.
course, protection magic. It's always a good time of the year to do protection magic. If you
It
want to
is,
do
and with the veils being thinner, it's even more powerful. And a good way to start off the new witch's year if that's where you choose to start your new year.
And then you can also do things for new beginnings and do a strengthening
Relationship.
for marriage and relationships.
I need a drink.
Don't we all?
No vodka in my tea today.
Ah,
There's general activities, stuff that you do um, for Samhain, obviously. Um, for the dead and deceased, you can leave offerings on your porch for wandering spirits, such as apples, fruits, etc. Light a candle in remembrance of the passed on loved one. You can set up an ancestor altar, ring bells to call lost spirits so that they can find their way.
or you can bury apples and pomegranates as food for the spirits passing by on their way to be reborn.
It's a nice idea to sit quietly as a family and remember those you have lost, to say a prayer blessing for your relatives who have passed over, and spend a little bit of time honoring and connecting with them. You can do this with heirlooms or pictures, or maybe even an activity that they enjoyed or taught you to enjoy.
Some celebrate Samhain with a ritual to guide the dead home by opening a western-facing door or window and placing a candle by the opening.
And that works in basically the same way as the ringing of the bell to help lost
Personally, just
spirits.
personally, just simply talking to my deceased loved ones works for me. So
Yeah, me too.
don't think that you have to go all out if that isn't your thing or if you don't happen to have the time to do so. Now, costumes and masks. One activity is to make a mask of your shadow self, which I find interesting. This is
It is an
also
interesting concept. I'm not quite sure I fully understand, but that
I,
is something.
I'm not really sure, but it's an interesting concept nonetheless. This is also the time of year to get a besom if that's your thing. A lot of witches get a besom one each year, and you ritually burn the old besom and bring in the new, decorating it and blessing it to protect your home.
This is also the time of year to carve pumpkins for protection, to scare off the negative spirits, and to guide friendly spirits. Show them the light. That's why you light the candle in the pumpkin.
Of course, this time of year you can also host a New Year's party if you have witchy friends and they would understand the New Year aspect, or have a Samhain gathering. You can do New Year's resolutions either on paper to burn or in a journal to read next Samhain, or you can do not magic to help your wishes and goals manifest in the new year.
By knot magic, that would be tying knots in a cord, each knot representing a wish or hope for the new year. Dress up and go watch Rocky Horror, which is one of my favorite activities. I love Rocky Horror. I've seen it far too many times.
It's such an awful movie, but I love it regardless.
It is awesome. It's just a jump to the left. Okay, moving on.
Well, if it helps, I had some of my kids doing the time warp by the time they were 2 and 3.
Yeah, my dad
and a
had me
twin.
doing the time warp. One of the first songs I ever was able to sing was the time warp, which just goes to show that I was raised properly. And then we have the symbols of Samhain, which are gourds, apples, black cats, jack-o'-lanterns, of course, and besoms.
Okay,
Um,
herbs of Samhain, mugwort, allspice, broom, catnip, deadly nightshade, mandrake, oak leaves, sage, and straw.
the foods of Samhain are turnips, apples, gourds, such as pumpkins and squash, nuts, mulled wines, beef, pork, and poultry, because obviously it was the slaughter time, and we
Then you
have the incense of Samhain, which are heliotrope.
heliotrope, mint, and nutmeg.
Colors of Samhain include black, orange, white, silver, gold, and purple, which is not on the list but should be because purple is an important Samhain color.
However, I kind of think as far as colors go, whatever floats
I
your
think
boat.
whatever feels right to you is the one that you should go with, but that can be said of any of these, really.
True. And then you have the
And
stones.
yep.
Of course, all black stones, preferably jet or obsidian. Some people also use any of your brown stones, cat's eyes, that kind of thing this time of year.
And amber, possibly because it has to do with like the trees and that. I'm not sure. But this has been a podcast for you, so that I don't know how long this will be after editing it, honestly.
Alright, so if you would like to let us know how you personally practice and celebrate Samhain, leave
We
a
would love
comment.
to hear it.
That would be awesome.
In our down bar, you will find a link to our blog, our Pinterest, where I am currently pinning a lot of Samhain related pins on a board just dedicated to Samhain. I will be posting stuff to our Instagram soon. Lilith will be updating the blog for a more detailed thingy.
I'm going to put on the blog um, the mythology story of Demeter and Persephone and her venture to the underworld. So if you don't know the story, be sure and check that out. It's pretty interesting. At least I always thought so.
I always thought so as well. So we post on our Facebook page daily. We are very active there, and so all of our links will be in the down bar. If you have any questions or want to know anything that wasn't discussed in this video, please feel free to ask. We'd love to hear how you celebrate with a video response or as a comment. We are always learning, so it's interesting to hear how other witches celebrate Samhain.
So with that, I think we will end here.
And we will wish you Samhain blessings. And we might have another video up before Samhain, but we can't promise that.
Well, we still need to do the witchy tag for Halloween, so.
Oh, yes, we will. So we will have another video coming soon. Well, by video, I mean podcast. And we will see you then. So, brightest blessings and goodbye.